Barnabas is the name of the person we're looking at this week to understand how we reap the benefit of community and encouragement when we're in context with one another. Barnabas' original name was Joseph or Yosef. I don't know because I didn't know him personally, but word has it that was his original name. In Acts 4, you'll see that that's his original name. And then the apostles named him or called him Barnabas, which means son of encouragement. Like he was so well known for getting people going and for being their hype man and for standing beside them the whole way and cheering for them at the end of the finish line that his name became son of encouragement. Do you know any sons or daughters of encouragement in your life? If you do, you're incredibly lucky because they are the kind of people that give you this boldness to continue to trust in the Lord in a way that you wouldn't be able to without them in your life. They're the kind of people that keep you running, keep you going. Shane was a Barnabas for me when we ran a 5K together. Because if I passed out, I'd have to explain myself to Shane. So it wasn't really him so much as just his presence. But it worked, so thank you. Barnabas is somebody that keeps you running, that keeps you going. So when a group of persecuted believers found themselves in a new place, preaching the gospel to new crowds of people, the church in Jerusalem thought, well, why don't we send our son of encouragement? These are people that have been through a hard time. These are people who are really in the thick of it. These are people who are beginning new lives. Let's send the one who is just so good at heartening and strengthening the resolve of those who have put their lives in the hands of Christ. And when he got there, the text says he encouraged all of them to remain true to the Lord with devoted hearts. What's interesting here is Barnabas went to Antioch, and we had just found out in the text that Greeks are starting to come and believe with the Jews that had given their lives to Jesus. And we think, based on where it falls in the book, that this is right after the very early controversies of, well, what do non-Jews do to be a part of the body of Christ? And there was still some racial tension there, like the Jews pre-Christ, before they had given their life to Christ, even Peter himself, after giving his life to Christ, wrestled with how to deal with the unchosen or the unclean people around them. And God had made it clear, look, I sent you a Messiah who would be Christ, who would be Lord for all nations. And now it's time for that good news that we talked about during Christmas to go out into all nations. And so there's going to be some different people coming in, and they're going to look different, and they're going to sound different, and they're going to sing different, and they're going to do other stuff differently. Like this is for the whole world. And this is new in the history of the church. And so Barnabas is really in the middle of this momentous occasion, not only the founding of the church, but the diversification of the church. Is that a word? It's a word now. The diversification of the church. The all-nationizing of the church. And there he finds himself not only in a foreign country, but also amongst a group of foreigners, amongst foreign people. And do you see what he does when he gets there? He rejoices at what he sees. He was made glad. That's the first way that he encourages. When you see that person in church and you see, what are they doing here? Or that person with all the tattoos comes in and you're like, how do you react to that? Are you encouraging that person by welcoming them and shaking their hand and hugging them? Are you encouraging that person by saying, I'm so glad you're here with us. I'm so glad that you're one of the family. I'm so glad to call you brother or sister or friend or all the above. Or are you the one that kind of has to dip your toe in the water first? You're like, oh, I don't know about that person. I don't know. They've got that name on their bumper. Jesus save me. Nice to meet you. If that's you, it's not the most encouraging response. But Barnabas, in the midst of all these new people, all these different people that are different from him and his cultural upbringing, come to this church, and he rejoices at it. Look at what you're doing, God. That's Barnabas' approach to these people that are coming to the Lord. And what does he do to them and to those who were Jewish and had come to Antioch and maintained the faith there and preached the good news there? It says that he tells them to cling to Jesus, to remain true to the Lord, to love him with all of their being, to follow him no matter the cost. The persecuted Jewish believers needed this. Have you ever come through a difficult time and maybe somewhere in the middle or toward the end or right at the beginning or right after you're done, you're just like, I just don't know. I don't know how much longer I can hold on to the faith, Lord. I am walking through the darkness. I'm out in the cold. This is difficult. If you've been in that moment, then you know what the persecuted church that ended up in Antioch felt like. Where you've got the towel in your hand, right? Like you're ready to throw the towel. Yo, Adrian, like you've got no Rocky fans. Noted. All right. So Rocky's a boxer. We're not talking about that. So you're ready to throw in the towel, but then somebody says, just hold on a little bit longer. I know you've been through pain. I know you've seen loss. I know you've been uprooted. I know things are difficult. Just hold on to Christ. And if they needed it, don't you think these new converts who hadn't seen God work in that way needed it all the more? These who were not already social outcasts, who were not already in a position that put them at the bottom of the food chain, these people needed to know, hey, it's not always going to be easy, this Jesus thing. It's not always going to go the way that you thought it was going to go, but just hold on to the faith. It's so worth it. That's what Barnabas did when he came to Antioch. And I got to tell you, the reason that we still need to be in community today is because we need this. You and I need this encouragement to hold on when times are difficult, to be reminded that holding on to Jesus by faith is always worth it, never disappointing, always so much more than you could have ever asked for or imagined would happen. So what person in your life, who are you spending meaningful time with that know your circumstances and can encourage you to cling to Christ no matter what? If Jesus is your anchor, who are the chains that help hold you to that anchor sometimes? Like, who is in your life that is saying, keep the faith, hold on tight. Jesus remains steady through your trial, through the winds and the waves. Don't give up now. If you don't have that person, let me tell you, it's so much easier to find yourself adrift at sea when the storm comes. It's not because the anchor wasn't worthy, but because you didn't have the things around you that kept you attached to that anchor. The anchor's not going anywhere. But if you're the only thing holding on to that anchor, if it's just you grasping it by the strength of your own hand and the wind and the waves come, I got to tell you, you look strong. You all look incredibly healthy. It's been a great week for you guys. 2022 is off to a great start. A lot of gym memberships, apparently. But no matter how hard you hold, your hand's going to get tired. And eventually, your grip is going to fail. Because you're a human. But if you've got a chain of 10 other people that can hold on to you when you slip and can keep you and say, don't you dare give up now, then you're going to weather that storm. You are way more likely to weather that storm because of the faithfulness of God at work in His church.